record. Okay, I guess, yeah, it's recording now. Thank you.
Okay, are we recording?
Yes, we are.
Okay. I'm going to call this meeting to order. It is now 6:31 p.m. and the meeting notice is hereby given. Oh, hold on just one second. Notice is hereby given that this is a regular meeting of the City Council of the City of Sandy Oaks, Texas, being held today, Thursday, March 26, 2020, at 6:30 p.m. by telephonic video conferencing for the purpose of considering the following agenda items. All agenda items are subject to action. Item 1 is a call to order and a quorum call. Ms. Shelton, can you do a quorum call, please?
Yes, Alderman Rapino,
Here.
Alderman Fillinger,
Here.
Alderman Tremblay,
Here.
Alderman Walker, Alderman Walker.
Here.
Thank you. Alderman Yelton, Alderman Yelton.
He's muted.
CJ, can you unmute him or no?
Yes,
Alderman,
I'm here.
thank you.
There he is.
Mickey's here, Lou's here, Cassandra's here. Not that, yeah,
Yes, I'm here.
thank you, and myself. Okay, you have a quorum.
Great, thank you. Item 2 on the agenda, citizens to be heard. Persons wishing to speak may sign up with the city clerk at least 2 hours in advance of the meeting by emailing cityclerk@cityofsandyoaks.com or calling 210-607-0834. Ms. Shelton, did we receive any comments for the meeting?
No, ma'am, we did not.
Okay. Item 3, mayoral announcements. I have 2 updates to provide. The first is on COVID-19. As you can imagine, this is an ever-changing, developing crisis that's being experienced around the world. Within the last hour, I have been bombarded with even more information, so I'm trying to push that out to the council members and get information published on the website just as quickly as it is available. 2 things. One of the items is that I did sign a declaration of public emergency on the 23rd. That does a couple of things. It allows us to be prepared in the event that we need to secure resources or available funding to address the crisis within our city. Number 2, we have signed up for the FEMA emergency funding should we need it. We don't have anything at the moment that we're seeking reimbursement for or need their assistance with, but the accounts have been created and approved.
Okay.
The most recent is a new...
I'm here 8 to 5. Oh, I'm sorry. Sorry.
The most recent is a executive order that was issued by Governor Abbott today. And that has to do with the declaration that the state of New York is the epicenter of the pandemic within the United States. That has been recognized by the medical professionals. And as such, there are travel restrictions that have been put in place. So anybody who has been in New York and is traveling to any other area in Texas is under an automatic 14-day quarantine. That extends also to New Orleans. Apparently, the cases are escalating in New Orleans as a result of Mardi Gras. So there is more information. The self-quarantine will require some registration with public health. We don't have that information. All of this has just come about within the last few hours. So more information will be coming out on that. And I will get that posted on the city website just as quickly as we can and share it with the council members as well. In the meantime, we are following the orders of what Governor Abbott has put in place and what Judge Wolf has put in place at the county level. And the intent is that all entities at the state, the county, and the local entities are all in lockstep with the plan to mitigate the spread of this virus. The numbers are very disturbing, to say the least. Fortunately, here in San Antonio and in Bexar County, we're doing fairly well in comparison. New York, as you all know, is probably suffering the worst for now. Just maintain the distance, maintain hand washing, and sanitize the surfaces, and stay home. I cannot stress that enough. Those things will help everybody. Also, as a result of the executive orders that have been issued, I have reached out to all of the businesses in Sandy Oaks. Those that cannot be open because of the order have closed. Some of them closed last week. Those that are open have taken measures to protect themselves and the public. The marshal and the deputy did go visit with the Super Express at the Valero and also with Dollar General to ensure that they are maintaining the distance requirements, limiting access to the building, and performing regular sanitizing of the stores. So if you see something that doesn't seem right, please reach out to the marshal and let him know. They have enforcement abilities within our city. Item number 3B, update on town hall regarding fireworks ordinance. Obviously, we are pushing that aside for now. We have more important things to deal with at the moment. That will be rescheduled at some point in the future. We will just leave it open for this time. Item 4, administration. A, discuss under possible action on approving an ordinance number 2020-159, extending the mayor's declaration of local state of disaster due to public health emergency and other matters related thereto. Council members, you should have a copy of the draft ordinance. And I can tell you, because this is an emergency, there's no need to waive a second reading on this one. The intent of this, there's two things that are coming from this, and Cassandra, keep me straight on this, but the first is the council would need to ratify the action I took of issuing a declaration of public emergency on the 23rd. So by ratifying it, you're approving it after the fact is what that means. The mayor has the ability and the legal authority to issue that directive as needed. So that was exercised, and now the council needs to ratify that. The second is to consider extending my original declaration, which is only good for 7 days. So that's set to expire on or about March 30th. And then the third thing has to do with the designation of who is the emergency management director and the emergency management coordinator. So by default, the mayor, myself, would be the emergency management director. And because of an interlocal agreement that we have had in place for some time with Bexar County for emergency management preparedness, Kyle Coleman, who is the Bexar County Office of Emergency Management, he is the coordinator for all of the county efforts. I did have a question for Cassandra on section 4, where it says that that would remain in place until the emergency expires or is lifted. I'm just looking for clarification on, is that a declaration that I would make, or we would follow, that would come from the governor?
That would probably come from the governor, and then the council individually would take that into consideration of whether it applies to the city or whether the city is still in a state of emergency. So once the council so when the state of emergency is no longer imminent, then the council can then repeal this ordinance and go back to norm.
Okay.
I just want to make one other suggestion to the ordinance in section Section 2, where it states the Bear County Stay Home Work Safe Order would be incorporated, and any subsequent amendments to the Stay Home Work Safe Order to include any other orders of Bear County, not just the Stay Home Work Safe that relate to the COVID-19 virus, just in case any other restrictions are imposed by the county that the city would need to incorporate into instead of going back and having to make another declaration and adopt another ordinance to adopt any additional county orders outside the stay home work safe order to just make it a little more broader and incorporate all Bear County orders.
And so are you recommending that we amend some language in section 2?
Yeah, because just looking back at the ordinance instead of the stay home work safe order, just to include any order from Bear County that would relate to the COVID-19 and any restrictions on businesses or individuals, to keep the public health in mind, unless the city council wants to make that decision individually based on each county order that comes into the future or that comes into play.
Catherine, can you share a copy of that draft ordinance or the final that you have, and let's make those adjustments on screen, please?
Let's see, let me pull it up. Let me share my screen real quickly. Can everyone see it?
I see it. I
Yes.
don't see ordinance yet, but I see the
Well,
screen.
it's
coming up. Thanks.
okay. So you're talking about here in section 2.
Can you make it a little bit?
Sure. Sorry.
Yes,
Enough?
let me see. Section, I would say section 2, the second sentence that says the city council further incorporates executive order or the executive order issued by the governor of the state of Texas on March 19, 2020, and subsequent amendments to the executive order and Bear County Stay Home Work Safe Order issued on March 23rd, 2020, and subsequent amendments to the Stay Home Work Safe Order, and then add and all orders.
As another sentence, or
Add to that sentence after the period or before the period, and subsequent orders of the county related
I'll get that fixed.
to the COVID-19 virus.
And that's it.
Implemented for the public health. I think the state, any orders that come from the governor are covered, but the county, it seemed to be, looking back at the language, it limited it to the stay home work safe order.
Got it. Okay, that makes sense. Okay. So for the council members, one thing that I would like to remind you is that if any of you have a question, there is a raise your hand feature in this application. And we need to go back to the screen, Catherine, for the members.
My screen won't pull up. I don't know.
I don't know.
Okay, or stop share.
Oh, stop share, yeah.
Well, it won't. I can't even, when I click on this, nothing's pulling up. Can you stop me from sharing? CJ? I can't get back to my screen.
You don't have commands at the top of your screen?
Oh. Oh. Stop share? Y'all
Yes.
don't want to see this anymore? What
That's
I-
cute. We're done.
Oh, well, I was just showing. Anyways, okay, stop share.
There we go. Okay. So do any of the aldermen have a question? Please indicate by raising your hand on the screen.
No.
No.
Okay. Then let's use the same methodology for making a motion. Who would like to make a motion? I see Alderman Fillinger has his hand raised.
Yes, I'd
The
like to
chair
make a motion.
recognizes Alderman Fillinger.
I would like to make a motion that we adopt the ordinance as amended.
This
Okay.
is Tom Rapino. I'll second.
Okay, we have a motion by Alderman Fillinger and a second by Alderman Rapino to accept ordinance 2020-159 as amended. I think I would prefer to do a roll call or not a roll call, record vote on this if you don't mind. I'll call your name and you will give me a yay or nay, please. Alderman Fillinger,
Yay?
Alderman Rapino,
Yay.
Alderman Tremblay,
Yay?
Alderman Yelton,
Yay.
Alderman Walker.
Yay.
Okay, that motion carries.
Yay.
Okay, and so Catherine, if you will prepare the final document, you can leave it down there on your desk. I'll come by after you've left and sign it, and then leave it there on your desk.
And that's to confirm that we're putting Kyle Coleman of Bear
We're putting
County Office of Emergency Management as the coordinator.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Thank you.
And that includes the change to the ordinance?
Yes.
Yes, the change to section 2 as well. Yes.
And can all aldermen get a copy of that once it's signed?
Absolutely.
Once it's signed, it'll go on the website as well, but yes, you will all have a copy of that.
Thank you.
Okay. So let's move on to item 4B, discuss and or possible action on an application for audio conferencing and related costs. So in light of the situation we're dealing with today, Governor Abbott has, I'm not going to say, he's suspended some of the restrictions within the Texas Open Meetings Act so that cities and counties and various government entities can continue to function. This particular option here of a video conference has been an available option for some time. We have not implemented that, but Alderman Walker has been very kind to let us utilize her. This is her program that she uses in her business, so that we could get a feel for how it works, and also be able to have this meeting this evening. So for one, I'd like to thank Alderman Walker for that.
Yes.
The other option is there were a couple of other options provided by TML to support this new way of doing business that the governor has approved. So for each of the aldermen, you should have in front of you some pricing on Zoom and also something called Log Me In. Log Me In was recommended. I think it may be because it's more scalable for larger organizations. It's a much more costly solution. The Zoom, which is what we're using here, and it seems to be working well for us so far, is a much more cost-effective solution. And this would allow us to have meetings such as this where we could invite, let's say that we need input from our city engineer. We could have them dial in and participate without having to pay travel costs. If there's a conflict and let's say Lou can't make it, or we have an alderman who's homesick and who should not be at the meeting, but could participate in the meeting, this is an option that we would have available to us. And Cassandra, correct me if I'm wrong, we would be able to utilize this going forward. This does meet the Texas Open Meetings Act requirements, if I'm correct. Is that right?
As of now, it does typically, or under the Open Meetings Act, a quorum does need to be physically present in one location, and then other members can join via conferencing or the telephone. But this part has been waived where a quorum does not need to be physically present, and there's no, once the governor lifts those waivers, then a quorum will have to be physically present. But like you said, member of council or the city engineer can dial in, so that it can be used for the future, but we don't know how long these restrictions will be, or these waivers will be in place. So it's acceptable.
Okay, perfect. So this Zoom application that we're using right now, if you look on the pricing that you have, the business solution for small and medium businesses seems to be a very cost-effective solution at only $20 a month, which is, you know, very good. Holds up to, can have up to a minimum of 10 hosts, and includes 300 participants. If we needed more participants, we can buy additional blocks for that. Something called a vanity URL, which I'm not too terribly concerned about. Anyway, there's a lot of good stuff in here. Everything that you're seeing here that we're doing, and CJ, correct me if I'm wrong, the business pricing and the features on this is exactly what you've got on yours today. Is that correct?
I have the pro version.
Oh, you have the pro version. Okay.
Right, I have the pro version.
Okay. So a couple of things that we get that are beneficial for what we're doing here now is this is recording the meeting. So where Catherine would typically bring the recorder to the table and we would record it that way, this application is actually recording this meeting, and then it records it in a format that makes it very easy to upload. So that's a positive. Let's see what else there was on here. I think the business package includes the ability to capture participants. So we would be able to have a listing of the participants everyone who was in the meeting that's with the council plus any guest. And that's all I have on that. I will say that with LogMeIn, we use that at work, and I know CJ and I have spoken about that. And I do agree with her. We use it at work. We also use Zoom at work, so we have both of them. The LogMeIn is really, when we use it, it's really a one-on-one. It works best in a one-on-one situation. So I'm trying to resolve a software issue. I don't understand how an application works, etc. So the two of us join in a meeting, and control can go back and forth between the two individuals. I have not seen it used in a much wider audience, so I can't speak to that. The Zoom application I have. I just think for the hopefully limited amount of time that we're going to need this, I think the cost for Zoom is much more agreeable and easier to implement. But I will entertain any questions. I see Alderman Fillinger has his hand raised. Go ahead, sir.
Yes, based on the workability of this program, I would make a motion that we participate in the business plan for at least the duration of this emergency.
I have a question. This is Tom. Since I can't get into the software because it keeps telling me that I don't have the app that is necessary, and I've searched for an app, switched IPs, it's still not launching. I would hope if I could ask CJ to, maybe if I sanitize my laptop, if I could drop it off, she can look at it and see what the problem is. I don't know.
Yeah, there's
Yeah, I'm
ways
gonna
around
echo
that.
Other than that, I can't get in. I've tried every which way, but.
I'll echo that.
I think-
And I think it's our older equipment. We're having issues downloading the app. Keeps saying that our systems aren't suitable or compatible. But
Yeah, that's what I get. Yeah.
but we can, if we went with the one that at least we know the mayor and CJ are familiar with it, we could get some assistance. So
Well, and
Yeah,
the
I
beauty,
agree. But
well, the beauty of this is that you're able to participate through the audio portion of it, and we're not really sure. I mean, other than Catherine showing the document that was being amended, which is a nice feature for us to be able to do that. Other than that, you're still participating by audio. It's acknowledged that you're here, so you do have the functionality, not the true functionality you'd like to have. But I think between CJ and myself, we can help both of you see if we can overcome that. Because my machine I bought in 2015 and it's working.
yeah, well, mine is not that old. I think it has to do with the presence of an app in order to launch this system, because
I think
I
the
don't know.
first time I clicked on it, it did a download, but you may have a firewall set up, or you could have an ad blocker.
Yeah,
That
I got rid of all that, thinking that may be the problem, but it didn't make a difference.
Oh, okay. We can certainly work with you on getting that done.
Okay, no problem. I mean, I like Zoom, what I hear of it anyhow, and I'll go with it. I just want to make it work for me
Okay.
fully. You know.
Okay. So we have a
all right, with
motion by
that
Alderman.
said,
Well, hold
I'll
on. We have-
second Alderman Soldier's motion.
Okay, so we have a
Go ahead.
motion by Alderman Fillinger to go ahead and purchase the Zoom, the business plan for $19.99 a month.
Mayor
And
Ball,
we
you
have
have
a-
a hand raised. I don't know if that needs to
Oh,
be
I'm
answered
sorry.
first.
I'm sorry, Alderman Yelton, you have your hand raised.
Yes. Is it not true that that our IT tech, Jerry, could help out with that situation on the computers and stuff?
Yes, he can do that. However, in this time when we're, trying to shelter in place, we could certainly reach out to him, maybe deliver your laptops down there, and then he could work on them, and then you could make arrangements to pick them up at a future date.
Great, thank you.
Okay.
Sorry
I
for the
don't see any-
interruption.
No, that's fine. Thank you. Okay, so we have a motion by Alderman Fillinger and a second by Alderman Tremblay to go ahead and purchase the Zoom business plan for $19.99 a month. For this one, I will go ahead and just ask all in favor to say aye.
I,
Aye.
Aye.
All opposed, say nay. Okay, that motion carries. Okay, and Ms. Shelton, will you work with CJ to get whatever is needed for this business plan? for Zoom?
Yes, of
Okay.
course.
I have a question.
Okay. And with that, it is 6:59 and we are adjourned. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks. Have a good night. Stay
Thank-
safe.
Y'all too.
Talk to y'all soon.
Thank you.
Catherine, can you turn off the recording? Thank you.
Let me figure out how.
Go back to where you hit record and hit stop.
Oh yeah, stop.